So let's move on to some controversial subjects, shall we? This should be pretty fun. TikTok, is it being banned in the US? And should it be?
Now it's time for the Change for Brains podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Change for Brains podcast. Podcast where two normal guys share their nickel and dime thoughts on a variety of different subjects, and at the end of the day, you just gotta ask yourself, does any of it make sense? All right, we are back, and it is episode number 5, and we got a few different things we're talking about today. First, we're going to get into some of our sports news. Chris, this weekend is the Final Four. Now, I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but I do kind of keep up with March Madness here and there. We're down to 4 teams. We have Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, Miami, and UConn. For fun, do you want to pick a team? And just we won't update it next week. We'll just wait and see till the championship, unless both our teams lose this week. But otherwise, we'll see who makes it and who doesn't. So, who would you choose?
I'm going to go with the probably the biggest underdog as far as who's actually remaining at this point. Which I'm a big Vols fan, of course, being from Tennessee. So originally, I was pulling for the Vols. Florida Atlantic seems to keep pulling off the upsets. So I'm going to probably just ride with them for the remainder and see how far they go.
Yeah, I think they're the biggest big underdogs right now. So who knows? You never know, man. You never know in March Madness. I'm just going to throw a team out there. I'm going to go with Miami. Why not? And I have no dog in the fight, so to speak, as they say. But this is just for fun. See if either one of us can get it right. So we'll see how that plays out. So I'm going to move on from that. Next up, I'm going to go to let's see. Yeah, WrestleMania is this weekend. Now, I don't know how our fans feel about wrestling. We haven't really got a lot of feedback. I'm sure there's plenty out there that who have seen our stuff, know that we talk about wrestling time to time. This is the biggest show of the year, though, for wrestling. And I guess my main question out of this is, do you think the Bloodline keeps all their titles, or do you think they lose them all, or do you think they lose some and keep some?
Kind of tough to say. I'm kind of torn on the Cody matchup. I kind of lean towards the fact that I do think Cody's going to win the title. But at the same time, I think it was that you were telling me about that Roman's approaching. How many days did you say?
He's almost up to 1,000 days. I think he'd have to make it another month and a half to make it to 1,000.
And see, that makes me question if they're really gonna pull it from him. But at the same time, it's I think it's got to be Cody's. So I have to think that Cody wins, but could definitely be wrong. But I'm predicting that Roman loses.
After the big letdown with Sami Zayn, because he was by far the hottest prospect, or whatever you want to say, the biggest wrestler this year, the most popular. And then they had it set up the whole time for him to lose. And so he had to lose this last pay-per-view, but everybody was cheering for him. And so I don't know if they can do back-to-back just letdowns like that.
Well, it's tough too, though. After Sammy losing with all the hype, it's kind of hard too to let Sammy lose again for the tag titles. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying too. That that was my next point. Was they kind of saved it with him and KO kind of mending fences and going against the Usos for the tag titles. That got them some decent pop. So they kind of got to redeem Sammy, and then do they burn Cody, or do they go ahead and just let the Bloodline have some turmoil? Thing is the Bloodline could lose all the titles and then come back and just start destroying everybody after this. Just start coming out and just randomly attacking people and wanting their titles back and then win them again. But as you said, the 1,000-day reign would be ruined. So it'll be interesting. I mean, there's several other matches. I'm not going to go into all those, but that's the main storyline of the card, and I just kind of wanted to touch on that, see what you think. And they're doing the Hall of Fame, and this year's classes, it's weak. Best thing coming out of it's Rey Mysterio. It's just how I feel. I shared it with you. The other guy we don't even know that well. And then Stacy Keibler and Andy Kaufman going into the celebrity wing. I mean, I'm kind of bummed about that. You'd think they would have had at least a couple other big names going in.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio. That's it for me on that one. I mean, I think that's well deserved, but I'm a little puzzled on the rest of those.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, jumping over to another sport because I'm done with that. I really don't have anything else to say about it. Jumping over to another sport, UFC, MMA. This past weekend, Cowboy DonaldCerrone got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Now, before we say anything, I do want to say congratulations, Donald. You were a great fighter, put on a bunch of good fights, and you stepped in on short notices. You had a bunch of bonuses. But you never won a title. So, Chris, you kind of brought this to me. How do you feel about him going into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I lean the same way as what you were saying initially. I mean, one, I do want to congratulate him. Again, lots of respect for Cowboy, but at the same time, I think when I was looking today, I mean, he had fought for the WBC title 3 times, wasn't able to win any of those. I mean, he's always been a top, like we were talking about earlier, he's always been a top 5 fighter for sure until probably towards the end of his career. And again, he was that company guy. He was the guy that was backups for lots of fights. I mean, Dana could call him at any time. He would jump in, save a card. I mean, lots of respect for him. But I think the title thing has to play a factor for me in the when it comes to Hall of Fame. Having not ever won that title, I don't know. I personally disagree, I guess, with the Cowboy decision.
I think there probably could have been some other people that could have took that spot, but I'm not going to sit here, and we're not bashing on Cowboy by no means. At least I know I'm not. I don't think you are either. To be fair, he's probably more popular than a lot of the champions throughout the years.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, that's just the hard truth. There's a lot of champions that just were never popular. They never drew numbers. That was one thing Cowboy did. So, but he's in. That was UFC's decision. That's their company, and I respect it. I don't, like I said, maybe someone else deserved it a little more. Who knows? But again, congratulations, Cowboy, and we wish you the best. So let's move on to some controversial subjects, shall we? This should be pretty fun. TikTok, is it being banned in the U.S. and should it be? We've talked about it a little bit, but I'll start off with your thoughts. Some of the stuff I've shown you and whatnot. Tell me what you think, and then I'll say what I think on it.
Okay, I guess my thoughts are maybe a little bit more towards the unpopular side, but I don't think that it should be banned. I do see the logic, and especially when I guess the TikTok creators are actually admitting that if the Chinese government were to request that they turn over information at any time, that they're required to do that, and they have no say in the matter, and then they don't even have to notify us that that's happened. So I mean, there is a security threat. I think the video that you had sent me, I think that I like the recommendation of possibly maybe forcing them to sell TikTok to a U.S. company. That's probably, I think, the best suggestion by far. I think banning it altogether, I think, is probably insane. I don't see going that far. But I think a sale is a good decision.
Yeah, and actually, I agree with you on a lot of that. Make a U.S. headquarters, sell it to a current company, not Facebook or anybody who's just going to shut it down, but somebody who can run it and keep it TikTok, but in the U.S. And actually, this is we don't know what's going on right now with this, but I just showed Chris right before we started filming this podcast, and maybe someone will have an update by the time we get off here. But before we got on here, TikTok wasn't working, right? You could go on and you could see videos, but if you tried to go onto anybody's profile and watch their videos, and even on my profile or our Change for Brains profile, if you go on there, it wouldn't show any of our videos. It just would say no internet connection. So I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know if that's something they're making major changes, or if it has officially just been kind of cut off, or they're slowly cutting it off. I don't know. It is weird though, and people are slowly talking about it on seen on Twitter. So, but we'll cover that once that we figure out what's going on there. But as for TikTok getting banned, I don't think it should be completely. Set up some regulations so that we don't have more data breaches, because, and I'll show some on the screen, there's been so many companies that have data breaches every year. And I've even got letters before from companies, hey, there's this data breach, here's what you can do to keep yourself safe, to check and see if your information was leaked. We need to fix that before anything else. And that needs to be for every company that has control of any of our data. I mean, can that be agreed upon?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I don't think TikTok, just banning TikTok is going to fix this issue. Plus, there's so many people on TikTok who have companies. They've literally built companies on TikTok, and by banning it, you're closing that down. You're taking away their money. You're taking away their way that they may feed their family, take care of their family. I just don't see that being good for everybody. I don't see it being good for any of those people, obviously. So we'll visit this more once we know all. I don't think they're going to ban it completely. Do you? I mean, at the end of the day,
I don't think so. They're going to do something. I mean, I do think that they're going to make some kind of move, because obviously we don't have the best relationship with China at the moment. So I think that is a concern. So I do think maybe the sale or something along those lines, but highly doubt a complete ban.
Yeah. What's this? Hold on. Breaking news. Elon Musk. No, I'm joking. I could see him doing something like that, though.
It's funny enough, I was thinking the same thing earlier. I almost mentioned Elon Musk.
Also, Elon Musk just bought TikTok just because. So yeah, hopefully they don't ban it completely. And I'm not just saying it because I waste way too much time on there, but the people that do have jobs and careers off that, I know some people don't like those people because they don't think it's a real job, but you know what? They make income from it. They made it, they did what they did, and a lot of them were thriving on it, and good for them. So that's where I'm going to leave that subject. If you got more to say on it, again, comments are open. Feel free. Keep it clean, though. We don't want to get, a bunch of bad language and whatnot in our comments, but you can be honest. Speaking of TikTok, we talked last week about our Mount Rushmore of sports. This is moving on to kind of a different subject, but and it got me thinking, the real Mount Rushmore, the one out in South Dakota right now, if it was built today, would it be the same? Would it be the same 4 presidents that's on there, or would it be 4 different presidents, 4 other influential people throughout U.S. history? Would it even be built today, or should the one that we have still be there? And I posted the poll on TikTok on our Change for Brains profile, and buddy, it has got some responses. The majority say no, it would not be the same today. I've gotten every comment from, we stole that land from the Indians, it should have never been made, we should put President Trump on there, we should put President Biden, we should put, people would put, I mean, you name it. Everything from the silliest stuff, Godzilla, we should just bomb it and tear it all down. If I know this, I'm not trying to get people fired up. I was just wondering how people felt about it, and some people feel very strongly about it. Chris, I don't want you to get too deep into it, but what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it would even be built today?
I don't really think that it would be built today, personally. I don't think that there could be an agreement, as I think the post is showing with just the huge differences of opinion. I just don't think that there could be any agreement on who would go on that today.
Which, by the way, also I want to post a warning. If you go to our Change for Brains and you can find the video with whatever's going on with that, but if you can find the video, it's warning. Some of the comments are, I mean, some of them are kind of offensive. I didn't have a filter on, so I mean, there's like 400 comments. I'd have to go through and check them all out. But if you're far left or you're far right, or you're going to get upset because of one thing or another, I would suggest reading those with an open mind, because you're going to see both sides going pretty deep with their thoughts, and that's freedom of speech. That's what it's there for. But yeah, I'll ask you guys, do you think it would be built today? And if it is, who would be on it? And if we could get a realistic conversation going about this and not be hateful towards each other, I would love to hear it in the comments. I would like to see where you stand. But like Chris said, I don't think we could ever all fully agree on 4 individuals that we feel deserve a spot up there. So, and that's sad that our country is so divided like that, but it is what it is. We all have our beliefs, and that's the great thing about America, is you have the freedom to do that. So, all right, I'm gonna get off the deep stuff now. I just wanted to talk about a little bit about that because I thought it was interesting. I didn't expect it to blow up like that on TikTok. I mean, I figured it would get a debate going, but I should have known there was going to be some people who were just going to go for the jugular, so to speak. So let's move on to something more friendly, and let's get into the movies. You ready for that?
Ready.
All right. The movie line I picked this week is it's kind of an older movie, but it's a classic, and I've been debating whether or not if I should try the accent that the guy uses, but I'll give it a shot, and it's probably terrible, and if people see it, I'm probably going to be mocked for a long time, and that's okay. But here we go. It's and I'm probably going to butcher the line. I should have wrote it down, but I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If it's a ransom, I can tell you. I don't have much money, but what I do have is a very particular set of skills.
I think that one is going to be Taken.
Yes. There's a whole big speech he gives, but I
can't remember the whole actual speech, but I definitely remember that from the Taken. I guess the first Taken movie.
Yeah. And everybody went around saying that I've got a very particular set of skills for a while after that came out. Someone said that because I think there was how many of those are out? 3 or 4, something like that.
It's either 3 or 4. I've lost count at this point. I think I've watched all of those, but
I read somewhere someone was like, after 2 movies, shouldn't it just be called Bad Parenting?
I'm thinking maybe it seems like 3, but I could definitely be wrong.
I don't even know what the next 3 are about. I think I may have seen 2 at one point, but it wasn't enough for me to remember it if I did. So, anyways, yeah, that's the movie of the week, Taken. If you haven't seen it, it's a decent movie. The first one, at least, is worth a watch, I would say. It's not the greatest movie ever, but it's one you should definitely have in your library, I guess you'd say. So, all right, moving on. Chris, are you ready for your review?
I'm ready.
It's time for Chris' movie review. Go ahead.
All right, so this week is watched John Wick 4, Chapter 4 last week. So a couple things first, I guess, before I actually do my review. So one thing about this one is it's going to be a little different in the regard that I don't remember the run times for the first three, but I know they definitely weren't 2 hours and 49 minutes. So the runtime on this one is almost 3 hours.
Wow.
So I'm going to run through just kind of the some of the other reviews first, just kind of like I did last week. So the IMDb reviews 8.4 out of 10, Rotten Tomatoes 94%, Metacritic has it at 78%, and Google users have rated this as 96%. So
wow,
going over pretty well. Reviews are good all across the board, and it looks like it brought in 73.5 million opening weekend. So pretty big opening weekend also. And I kind of noticed that when I watched it. Usually I'll watch a matinee middle of the day, like 12 o'clock, and usually I've got just a few people in there, and it was actually a pretty packed theater for my viewing, which is pretty out of the norm. So this one, just like always, of course, stars Keanu Reeves. I think Bill Skarsgård is, of course, the villain in this movie and does an amazing job. This is a movie, usually I really don't like movies too much that I don't like running past that 2 hour time frame. Generally when I'm watching a movie, I like up to about 2 hours is usually kind of what I'm hoping for with a movie. This one did not feel like a 2 hour and 49 minute movie. Just like all of the John Wick movies, tons of action, pretty much nonstop throughout. You don't have just an insane amount of dialogue going on in these movies, just lots and lots of action. Definitely not going to get bored in this one. And to be the fourth movie, I guess, in the franchise, it hasn't lost any steam. If anything, I would say it's picked up a little bit from some of the previous. This one I'm going to give 90 cents out of $1. So wow. I think this may be my highest rating so far since we've been doing these.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the highest before then was 80. 90 is almost a perfect movie. I mean, it's
really good movie. And one other thing I'll suggest on this one, it does have a after credit scene, and you most definitely will want to stay for the after credit scene on this one. It's a pretty big reveal, so definitely stay past those credits.
Does he go to the pet store and pick out a new dog?
He may. I don't want to spoil that for anybody.
If that's it, I'm sorry. I have not seen anything, but if that's it, you just see him walking into PetSmart. I'll take this one. Yeah, sorry. Hopefully that's not it. If it is, I'm sorry, everybody. I have not seen the movie.
Really good movie, though. I highly recommend this one.
That's crazy for a sequel to be that good. That's good to hear. And especially for it being that long. The last movie I think that was that long that kind of did well was The Batman.
I think it was right at 3 hours too. I think about the same run time.
So 94 John Wick Part 4. Let me ask you this: does it seem like there's going to be another one?
I will say I definitely think that there's going to be another John Wick.
Okay.
And I think there's actually about to be a TV series that I think is a prequel about like the Continental Hotel and I guess how all of that was started. I'm hearing so.
Anything can happen. But I think that's it. Do you have anything else you want to touch on this week?
No, I think we covered anything that I could think of for this week.
Yeah, I think that's about it, guys. So thank you again for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you enjoy this, and if you do, please give us a like, subscribe, and share us with other people so that we can continue growing and keep doing this for you guys. We do this just as something to do, but we're hoping that other people enjoy it as well. Oh, and hit that bell if you want to know when the next episode is up as well. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week, and until then, we are cashing out. Take care.